I do apologize about that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for another great evening of a conversation with MossBurgh. And as you see, to the left of me, to the right of me, is my little big brother I have this evening with the conversation with MossBurgh, Jamelle Cornley, Columbus, Ohio. I call him a legend and so many things that he's done throughout his career and that he's done and still doing today. It is great to have you on this show this evening, Mr. Cornley. How are you doing, man? And I totally and greatly appreciate you for joining this evening as well.
All is well, big dog. It's an honor and a privilege to help serve and share whatever it is that you need for me to share on behalf of the people, man. So thank you for the intro. And as you know, the Moss family has always been good to me, and this is the least I can do.
Man, I greatly appreciate it. And them are some humbling words to hear coming from you, as well as sometimes when I hear throughout my lifetime people saying things like that. But it's a true statement, as I hear it again today in 2026. But not to talk too much about all the outside chitter chatter. We here for you, Mr. Cornley. Once we started talking on the phone, it was like we was brothers that didn't get a chance to play with each other at times, but I watched your presence. I've heard about so many conversations of how great you were. But before we get into that, tell us about your upbringing, being born here in the city of Columbus, Ohio, and what made you Jamelle Cornley, this Ohio legend we talk about when we speak on basketball, but the family man as well.
Wow. There's a lot that goes into it. I came from a solid tribe of 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 great athletes. Um, and then my Columbus tribe was centered around men that could get to it one way or another. Some hustlers, some barbers, kind of one and the same, handyman,
Yes, sir.
some players, um, all sorts of people. And so, with me being born in Normal, Illinois, which was kind of like on the outskirts of where my parents went to college at Illinois State, I went ahead and moved here when I was 2 years old, to be with more family and to be raised by the Columbus village here. So, being from the north side of Columbus, or spending a majority of my time on the north side of Columbus, I went to a lot of the parks around the way. I
Yes,
went
sir.
to Parkmore Elementary to play basketball. Played in countless Gus Smacker 3-on-3 tournaments here in Columbus, Chillicothe, Portsmouth, Dayton, Zanesville, all the surrounding areas. So a lot of the essence come from basketball came from just being outside and
Mm,
mixing it up with some older guys. As you know, I was always one of the ones that played with the older guys, either one
sure.
year or 2 years older. I was always in the mix one way or another. Nike League, all sorts of leagues, man. It was just I had to earn mine the right way.
Yes, sir. And when you say tribe, you make me think of a village as you spoke on as well. And people that don't know Columbus, like you said, being around the players, the hustlers, the barbers, and so many influential people to want to see you grow and develop. And like you said, playing against talent that's a few years older than you to become that man. And I'm seeing that polishness on that hat. That seemed like that tribe and that village. You took little bits and pieces of all those things to become you. And as I'm looking at those accolades, I believe I see a Gus Smacker in the back of you as well. One of those
Yeah.
trophies and one of those Brookhaven plaques as well. And as we talk about this, you talked about Parkmore. I heard about a Woodward Park legend, and I know we know about the Brookhaven years that you spent there to become the next at another university on the college level. Tell me about the Woodward Park days going into that superstar, that megastar that became at Brookhaven.
Well, Woodward Park was a special time for me as a young man, but in my basketball career, I would say that that's where I sort of took off from the standpoint of having the freedom to play play in seventh grade, which during that time only seventh and eighth grade could play on one team. I think I
Yeah.
was one of few to be on the seventh grade to be a seventh grader on the team, and so I had a great coach Jack Dallas, who
Mm.
really instilled the fundamentals of the game, learning how to pass and cut without the ball. But he was the one that really helped me later on in my basketball journey learn how to watch the game, read the game, and how to make others better.
Yeah.
And that came from like we had a tough division, so we used to play against Clinton,
Yes.
and Clinton had everybody. They had Frog, King Galloway, and Quan Perry, and Maine, and Rashad Geis. I mean, they had everybody during that time, and so
Yeah.
that was the
Man.
first kind of team to put me in a boxing one. And I
Wow.
remember, my coach Jack Dallas coming to me like the next day because we had really gotten a whooping, and I couldn't
Man.
touch the ball. I wasn't as effective as I really wanted to be. And he
Yeah.
came and got me out of class the next day, and he said, "Jamelle, do you know what happened to you yesterday?" And I was like, "No, I'm about 12 years old at the time." He
Yeah.
said, "No." He said, "They boxing won you." And I was
Wow.
like, "What is that?" He was like,
Yeah.
"That's a defensive scheme where they put, two guys on the elbows, two guys on the blocks, and then this guy just follows you
Follow you
everywhere."
around. Yeah.
And I just felt like, man, I was like, I knew something was up. I had something I had never seen before. And he said, "You know what? I've never seen a 12-year-old get boxing one either in all my
Yeah.
years of coaching." And so that's
Man.
what kind of opened up my eyes a lot more when it came to the game of basketball. And, I kind of went from there.
Wow. I would say definitely hats off to the coach as well. And your talent, your sheer talent, pure talent gave your coach the instincts to show you at a young age. And as we seen the growth in Jamelle Cornley, which I mean, I seen flashes of Tim Duncan. I seen flashes of Charles Barkley. There's so many Hall of Famers. I seen that when you want a bucket down low with that force, you were definitely the man to get that. And the way you made that mid range look easy, dominating down low, getting above the rim, it's just so many things. And back to the boxing one, when your coach, pulled you out your classroom and spoke to you on that, where, because some people's head could get real big when you think of that, but for you it seemed that you took that, you learned that, and you made everyone around you better. What did you get from that sit down with your coach moving forward for the next year, the next 2 years?
Mainly that that one person couldn't win the game by himself. And that in order for you to be effective and play the game at a high level, you're going to have to learn how to be a all around teammate. Whether that's being an encourager, whether that's passing up certain shots and allowing others to build their confidence and their skill set. And then most importantly, I think the one that I was able to really um, an intangible that I was able to really pull from that time period that helped me later on was learning how to be a decoy. When you're able to learn how to be a decoy and do everything as if you are going to be an offensive threat,
Yes,
um, that creates opportunities for others to flourish and do what they need to do so that later on in the game, you can make your presence felt and make sure that you bring it home.
I agree. That's a great point as well. And when you say being that decoy, I think that shows the humbleness that you had early on in your career to be able to excel and understand when you see a double team, or you can kind of eye a boxing one or a 1-3-1, a zone, and those type of things to make your other players better, to where you get in those type of moments where you have to make that pass, where you
Hmm.
you have to call that play. I think everybody is ready at that time. That's a great point. And when you think of Brookhaven High School, Man, them were some great years. I know it's so many highlights. When I seen the highlight tape, it took me back, man, to even my days of when I played at Brookhaven, and even though I played at East. Talk to me about your days at Brookhaven High School, one of the epic high schools we talk about in the city still today. Your thoughts? Talk to us about those years.
Well, I was, the Haven, as we call it, that's a special place. Um, I remember being in middle school, and I remember like several high schoolers coming to my games.
Wow.
Like it was like this was when you could, not
Yeah.
necessarily, we wasn't recruiting, but it was like, yo, you know where you're supposed to be. And
Right. Yeah.
so
Definitely.
that made sense. But keep in mind, I was a manager for Brookhaven when I was in middle school. So it was me, Drew Lav, Rashad Geis, and my cousin Dimitri Kraft. The four of us
Mhm.
were ball boys for Brookhaven for like 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
So I was brought up in the program with understanding that I had to pay my dues. Like there was a certain way that this program was going to be ran. It was yes sir, it was no sir, it was shirt tucked in, it was um, sprinting from station to station or drill to drill.
Yes, sir.
Grades came first. Respect was everything. Making sure that we honored our coaches in a way, and then most importantly was learning the game. So to come up and watch, I came up being the ball boy of Phil Dupree and Chris James and Aaron Short, Frank Caldwell,
Wow.
Antoine Lavender.
Some
Um,
hoopers right there. Some hoopers right
yeah,
there, man.
yeah, man. Like I can pretty much name the whole roster for what I mean from '96 on. So, I was just in it, and so by the time I get to Brookhaven, as a freshman, the they had lost the year before in
Yeah.
the state final four to Cincinnati Elder, and I was at the game. I was in the crowd, and there was something about that game that just to see that group just kind of like stung. Like
Yeah.
it was just something they were like depleted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, if I'm going here next year and I'm looking around, I'm like, yeah, I want all of this. I want
I
parts of
want that.
this.
Yeah. Made you a little hungry.
Yeah, it did. It did. And that was at 12. I was like 12, 13 years old. And then the next year was my freshman year, and that's when we went ahead and took it up top.
Yeah, took that thing over, and to have that, that's a great thing, man. And to have that experience, seeing it and looking around, like you said, to get that feel, but to be that ball boy and to be loyal and like you said, feel like you owed them something. I think when you held that trophy, I'm just thinking in my own hands, it seemed like everything came to a forefront, being that ball boy, seeing those guys come and see you in your middle school days, to handing them the ball, to watching Phil and Cardwell and Croft and all these guys be great, for you to hold that trophy after seeing them go through what they went through. Tell me how that was for you.
To be honest with you, Moss, I didn't really. You got to keep in mind, I'm 14,
Yeah.
so I honestly at that time I'm thinking, so what? We got another game after this? Do we got like nationals or something? Like,
Yeah.
so because this can't be it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And so at 14 years old, I'm still green. I'm completely green, and I'm thinking like, yeah. So okay, the season. Y'all saying the season's over.
You ready to hoop.
I got AAU, right? And then we supposed to do this all again next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it didn't really hit me what we really did until the following year when
Man.
we lose in the chip, and then we haven't even brought up the man himself, Coach Howard.
Yes,
And
sir.
him transitioning. By that time, it's like, oh, I think I know what we did. And then as you mature, you don't even realize it until you get these moments of like, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh
Yeah,
wow. So
definitely.
that's really, to be honest with you, I was green. I didn't know what to think.
And when you speak on that legend, rest in peace to, we all know him, man. Coach Howard, one of the greatest coaches in the city ever to step on the court. When you think of Coach Howard, for me, when I seen him, it was like, man, this is the echelon of basketball.
Mm.
To beat this man is going to take a lot. So give me your thoughts and what you felt, being able to be there and practice with this coach, Coach Howard. And we know the legendary, the great that he is. Give me your thoughts on Coach Howard.
It's hard to put into words exactly what he represented, but he was a great teacher. He taught us the game, but it started with how he wanted us to, how he cultivated us as young men. And that was about being on time, showing respect to your teachers and your coaches, and then the game was a privilege.
Yeah,
And I think that's probably the one attribute that was instilled in us by being part of that program, was that basketball itself was a privilege. And that's gone a long way with me because I've realized how many doors is open for me
yeah,
and my family. But for to see him go through that, he had, I remember it like it was yesterday. We had a game out of town. I said yesterday, and I can't remember where we were. I think we were in Florida. And
it's a
after
tough
the
story. It's
game,
a tough story to talk about. I respect it.
yeah, it was tough because it's kind of a blur, but nonetheless, I remember it being right after the game, and we were in the locker room, and he, I'm, I just hear like a loud release, and it's right behind me,
Yeah,
like right behind me, and I turn around, and coach is bent over, and he's excavating, and it's all kind of like you know blood, and I remember it hit my shoe, and and then we went ahead and took the necessary measures of getting him, accommodating him, and then over the course of several weeks, he ended up passing away on what, April 10th or April 11th, of what, 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So that it was just a different time. Again, I'm about to transition into my junior year, which is a
yeah,
big year, and that's a big
big year.
summer.
Yeah, yeah.
And to kind of witness that and go through that was really challenging. And again, another time period where you don't really understand how it affects you until later.
Till later. Yeah, yeah. Great thing. And from your junior to your senior year, it was a lot of questions. Even for myself, nobody knows where Mr. Jamelle Cornley is going. And you went to a place that we all know. You went to Big Ten country.
Mm.
What made you choose the Penn State Nittany Lions? Talk to us about that, sir.
Penn State really felt like it chose me. I
Mm,
had been on the AAU circuit. Um, AAU was good to me. At the same time, that was when it was, you still going against the cream of the crop. I
yeah,
had different offers coming from different places. A lot of um, low, low, high major. So we had, I had all of the MAC. I had Pittsburgh that was trying to do something. I remember Tommy Amaker. If Tommy Amaker would have offered from Michigan, I think I was going there.
think it was going. Yeah,
I think I
yes.
was going there, but I was really close to going to Dayton.
Wow.
And that was the head coach. Right now, that coach is the general manager for the Phoenix Suns,
Yeah.
Brian Gregory. And I was
Man.
really close to going there. And I was at a visit, and they called me and said that Charles Little had taken that scholarship, and so I no longer had a scholarship there, because there in that time they would offer like two or three guys actually, for a scholarship for that slot, and whoever took it took it.
Yeah.
And Charles Little took the one at Dayton, and I remember I had the Penn State one lined up, but I had to make sure. My mom wanted me to make sure I went to homecoming.
Yeah. Sweet. Sweet.
You know what I mean? So I went ahead and took the visit on a Sunday, Monday, and got up on the campus, and it was like, yeah, we got to do this. You know,
Man.
the campus was beautiful. It wasn't too far from home, but it was far
Right.
enough.
Yep.
You know what I
Enough to
mean?
be away. Away
Yeah,
from
five
everybody you
and a
need to
half
be so you can
hours.
find yourself. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that last part, what you just said. You know what I
So you
mean?
can
I had to,
find yourself. Yeah.
yeah. And Big Ten country, so all the neighbors, all my people around here can see me still rock.
Yep.
And I mean, on top of it, and then football. I always had
You
love
had
and
that love
respect
for
for the
that
game of
football.
football, and they had some cool football dogs. So it was everything.
Yes, sir. And for me, seeing you play in them years at Penn State, I think was special. I don't know, some people don't know until you talk to them. I was always tuned in. Anytime they had y'all on the TV, I was tuned in. I
Yeah.
watched you deal with the surgery with the shoulder, still backing them down, getting double doubles. And you was the freshman. You was the rookie of the year. Not only that, then you led your team, and people think that it's always the biggest thing to get in the March Madness tournament. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, yes, it is. But
Mm-hmm.
that NIT tournament still rings bells. And I
Mm-hmm.
watched your run in that NIT, which is still special. And they
Mm-hmm.
talk about that run in Classic on ESPN still today. That Penn State team that ran through that NIT was special. Talk to us about that freshman year, being that rookie of the year, and going through that NIT tournament when y'all should have been in the tournament, but y'all made a statement and winning that NIT. Talk to us about that.
Well, freshman year was just, what I mean, it was transformational in many different ways because you had to learn what the Big Ten grind was all about, and that was just, it was relentless, man. I mean, we had Shannon Brown, Maurice Ager in the conference, um, Deion Harris, Drew Neitzel, um, uh,
Man.
I, I'll be here forever dropping names when
Yeah,
I
and them
you
some
know what I mean,
hoopers,
Terrence
man.
Dials,
Yeah, yeah,
everybody, man, my freshman year. So it was there's no off night. The preparation is everything. Learning how to take care of your body with the school schedule. You know what I
yes.
mean? Time management became everything. But
Mm,
the actual play on the court was extremely fun, and learning how to compete every day was important. So to be amongst some of the great Big Ten players and be awarded the Big Ten Freshman of the Year was truly and still is an honor. And
yes, sir.
there's some great players that won that award. And then as far as senior year, I believe that a lot of the reason why we didn't get to the tournament was because there were some games down the stretch of our regular season that I personally didn't take. I didn't take over like I should have. And if I
Mm,
would have been a little bit more assertive, maybe some outcomes would have been different,
mm,
and we would have had a run in the NCAA tournament, or a shot at least. But the NIT was monumental and memorable in all its own ways.
yes, sir.
To be in New York and to have all the Penn State people come out, 30 plus buses coming. The floor was pulsating at one point. Like, where it was during one of the breaks, the whole like our Penn State following had the whole crowd pulsating to the point
Wow.
where, yeah, my man Taylor Battle turned around at me like, "Yo, Corn, you feel?" I'm like, "Yeah, I feel it." You know what I mean? It was live in there, man. And
Yes,
so,
sir. Yes, sir.
Joe Paterno and Franco Harris and all of the Penn State royalty in there. I actually sat with Don King the night before. I
Wow.
was I was man, this is just a time.
That's living, man. That's what you call living and enjoying your Big Ten country. But
Mm,
I think that's part of that tradition as well at Penn State.
mm,
Like you said, being amongst those guys, the legendary Paterno, and what was it like when you mentioned battle? I
yeah.
watched you and him do work. Some of the relationships and bonds that you formed throughout your time as well. How was that? Being away from home, finding you, but seeing how much you found you to build those relationships throughout that time as well.
It was extremely important. I mean, with you want to be able to build a tribe or find your tribe, in different places around the world. And for me, Penn State was, it was able, it allowed me to build relationships with people forever. I watched Taylor Battle come in. He was 2 years younger than me. I watched that whole process from the day he stepped foot on campus to his visit. During that time, he wanted to be around me on his visit because I was the one that was, messing around and
Chilling.
all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he wanted to have some fun, and that was great. Um, and we just formed an unbelievable bond there. He's actually back there as a coaching, and that's incredible
Yeah,
to see it
incredible, man.
come full circle.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, definitely.
and just to see, yeah, see him find himself, in that space, because we all
Definitely.
have a story, and so it was awesome, man. Penn State is just a place where every time you go back, it's going to take you somewhere that you remember, and it's going to be so fulfilling and wholesome that it's just something that you gotta go through it yourself and enjoy it for yourself.
Definitely, definitely, man. For sure. And not to, keep you too long, but we're gonna keep you long enough.
Okay, yeah.
And what's the cultural difference? We seen a couple pics of Pacquiao. We put an edit out there. We seen Manny, one of the great legends. And what's it like when you talk about the cultural differences playing for foreign teams? You meet so many people, you see how it is playing in a different culture compared to what it is at home. And it's a whole different brand of basketball out there in the world. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, basketball is a language in itself. It basketball is a language, and the court is a map. It's a map to kind of guide you and get you where you need to go. So it doesn't matter if you, in my experiences, you could take a basketball on any court in all the places where I went, and point, you could point at somebody and point them to where, point them where you want them to be. And you don't have to
Yeah,
say anything. A ball in your hand on the court and point and direct somebody, they know what that language is.
yeah,
And so when you understand that basketball is a language, it's a driving force for you to build relationships with anybody and everybody around the world. Because those of us that love this game, it doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are. If you can
yeah.
hoop and you understand this lingo, then we gonna play.
We're gonna play that ball. Simple as
So
that.
as much as we think that there's differences, there's not a whole lot. I would say one of the biggest differences is um, we here in America. I don't. We've played it so much, and we've been spoiled with some of the incredible talent that is being played that has played
Yeah,
before us, that it's no longer as much of a privilege as it used to be. So
that's a
now
great
everybody
point.
around in different places around the world, they train harder. They pick up on all the details of the game as opposed to maybe what we're doing right now. But there's not too many differences once you get to certain places around the world, man. It's just a love for the game and wanting to be better.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate everyone tuning in this evening as well. My man Paul, post game sports on the crew, one of the homies, he said that hat is really doing what it do. He loved that hat. It's one of a kind, and we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. And when you talk about that, you know, basketball being that map, this full circle if don't nobody know, has brought you to the sidelines on
Mm.
that level, being that coach. I would love for you to let the people know what you do now, where you coaching at, and the success behind that. I know you sent me a picture of the gentleman. I would love for you to tell the people about that at that Hilliard school that you are at.
One of the most humbling feelings is to be called coach,
Yes.
and when we say it's an honor and a privilege to be a coach, I'm starting to appreciate it more each day. There's so much preparation that goes into it. I'm going into my third season as the JV head coach at Hilliard Davidson, varsity assistant, and I am the director of youth development. And to be on the sidelines and to learn the game from a different seat is something that it can, it's the biggest challenge that any basketball mind can really have, because in order for you to teach something, you've got to be able to learn it yourself. And you've got
Yeah.
to be able to put your ego and put everything aside and understand that no matter how this goes, the wins are on the players, the losses are going to be on the coach.
Yep.
And that, these are young men that want to learn how to play the game and they want to win, but at the same time, you got to have them buy into one common goal and your philosophy. And so it's been an incredible experience getting up every day and encouraging and then being taught new ways, new skills in the game and learning how to teach the game. I've got a great head coach and Coach Chris Armstrong, who's been a coach for over 30 years. And, I kudos to him for allowing me to learn from him. But it's been an incredible experience, man.
Yeah. One of a kind. And when you talk about that, what would you say the difference between when you played to the new generation, with you being in development and with you being in that third year coaching? Is there any difference that you see from when you played and now to this generation that you coaching today?
There are some differences. The ones that I think are better suited for today's timers, I think these guys are more skilled, naturally skilled than my generation in particular.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know if the drive to want to be great is there.
Mhm.
We had people that wanted to win games and have moments that were cherished amongst everybody, as opposed
Yeah.
to guys that really may just want to focus on their own creativity offensively, and then which leads to their branding and the next stage of life. I just think that the biggest difference is more so the skill versus the will. We had more willful guys back growing up, but these are more skilled players,
Yeah.
and the approach is a little bit different. Everybody has a bag, but I'm not sure everybody has a strong IQ.
When it comes to that
And
back. Yeah.
yeah, everybody's got a bag, and I like a bag. I like a deep bag.
Yeah.
I like when players get into their bag, but
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if everybody. I'm not sure if this generation of players has bought into more of the cerebral parts of the game, taking the screening and the defensive side as serious as we used to. So I
Yeah,
think that's the
definitely.
biggest change.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that same thing. Just from my point of view, just seeing it, I think just the same thing. Seeing the defense, and like you say, I like a bag, but let that bag chill and drop a dime or something. I totally agree. I think it makes the bag look deeper, and
Yeah,
we know what type of tools that's going to be in that kit when he comes to the gym. But it's
yeah,
just a great thing to see being able to develop some of these youth as well as being able to coach this next generation into some of the greatness that you were exposed to and you played against. You could be coaching the next Big Ten freshman of the year. not just the NIT champ, but NCAA March Madness Sweet 16 birth player. Some of those things are, what gives me chills, and knowing that we could call you Coach Jamelle Cornley now. And I apologize for not putting that coach in front of it, but I'm gonna address you, Coach Cornley, because I know when you hear that, it gives you a different feeling, and it's just something special. I know I've been in that position, coaching a middle school before, helping out with the rec centers, and that feeling, like you said, being a coach is something special. They always look to not just be that village, but they always looking for that advice. And
Mm-hmm.
that's always something great to think about when they could come to you for advice. When you sit back and you think you got to go somewhere else, but somebody coming to you for advice, that definitely hits home for myself. And just to hear that from you, it definitely hits home because knowing that, like I said, you and the greatness that you've excelled in having to be able to give it to these kids, I can only see it unfolding and being something great for you to talk about as you continue in your coaching years as well. Is there anything anyone you want to thank throughout this journey? Anyone you want to say something to, send a shout out to anyone across the world? It don't matter where they at. This is your time. Feel free.
Mm. Man, I could thank so many people. I gotta say thank you to the Most High for so much, for everything.
Yes, sir.
I've been fortunate to do something that I love, and then be able to help others maybe get to where they need to go. Um, I can't thank my mom and my father enough for taking me and grooming me the best way that they could. My grandparents, rest in peace to my papa who passed away about 2 years ago. Um, yeah, the whole village: Randy Clarkson, Daryl Seward, aka Uncle Tiger, Ronnie Smith, um, Papa Joe, PJ,
Yes, sir. Yes,
um,
sir. Yes, sir.
Jesse
Take a
Lanier, Mook,
village, man. Yes, sir.
yeah, Mook, rest in peace. Uh, Esteban Weaver, Lamont Barnes, Jermaine
Mm,
Geis,
mm,
Jimmy Jackson. Jimmy
mm.
Jackson is a big one.
Yes,
Jimmy
sir.
Jimmy is Clark Kellogg. I know I'm naming hella Buckeyes, but
This your time, man.
hey,
This your
look,
time.
yeah,
They
man,
gotta
like
respect it. You from the city of Ohio, and with your essence, I'm sure you rung many bells in that Buckeye room, and it's only right for game to recognize game, and you recognizing those people that recognize you respectably.
oh man, Moss, I appreciate you giving me this time to shout these people out, because I don't think I ever have out loud, but so many. The Turner brothers, Twan, Dre, my OGs, all my OGs. I know I'm missing so many. Dave Brinkley, rest in peace. Marvin Stevens, I love you, rest in peace. So many. I
Man.
was Columbus's nephew for some years, and now I'm Columbus's uncle. I'm become.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big
You know what I mean?
up
I'm,
in
I'm
the
still
building.
still a little big bro to y'all. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
it's coming. You know what I mean?
It
Yeah,
come full
man.
circle, man.
It's
It's
full circle, man.
definitely
I didn't seen
yeah.
the players. I didn't seen the gangsters. I didn't seen the pros. It's
Man,
I'm just
it's
been
special.
fortunate to get to this stage and have this conversation with you, because there's been many people who helped me get here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you once again. When I seen some things, it was only right, like I told you when we talked on the phone, that I step out and I reach out to you. It was only right. So, with all due respect from me to you, man, it's always love. I can't wait till we come across, chop it up, and do our 1-2. I'm gonna have to come see you on the sideline, get in that locker room with your guys, man. We're gonna do some things this season with City League TV, man. And again, man, it's always blessings from here. And I greatly appreciate you being here this evening for this conversation with MossBurgh tonight. Other than that, I didn't have anything else, but just giving you blessings and giving you your flowers here live on this conversation with MossBurgh on Level Up Sports 10 podcast, WTP Sports affiliated for sure.
One
Other than
love,
that,
Moss. Thank you, bro.
yes, sir, man. I'll talk to you and definitely will be hitting you up, man. And anything you need from me that I could do, if you need anything cut up on this, man, let me know. I'll send it straight to you. It's yours. You already know, man. It's straight love from here.
You already know, man. Yeah, send me a few edits, man. I'd love to go ahead and repost and something. Make sure you get yours, bro.
I got you, man. Always, man. We always say we was in the building. We hit them with them peace signs and we out, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in this evening for another great conversation with MossBurgh and Coach Cornley of the Hilliard Davidson Wildcats. Love you, big dog, man. Can't wait till we chop it up more.
Love you too, fam.
Yes, sir.